Yo, what's up?
Oh, hey, what's up, man?
Let's do this.
All right, come on in. Welcome to our fusion kitchen. Today, we're cooking up some serious literary analysis as well as a blend of iconic cultural flavors. We call it Masala Mac. So, this dish is a testament to the pivotal themes Jhumpa Lahiri focuses on her two short stories, Mrs. Sen's and This Blessed House, of how immigrant domestic relationships compromise between assimilation and cultural roots in the context of being immigrants in America. Welcome our other chefs, Audrey Zhao and Fei Xu.
For a lot of new immigrant families and marriages in the United States, familiar community isn't given but has to be fostered to accomplish a sense of belonging. But to get to that point takes a tumultuous journey of battling between what they value and culture, assimilation, and compromise. Lahiri's short stories Miss Sen's and This Blessed House commentate on this journey between the characters, compromising and nurturing their own sense of pride and familiarity in their culture and ethnicity.
In Mrs. Sen's, Lahiri critiques the friction and stubbornness of Mrs. Sen. She's actively refusing to adapt to her new American environment, but instead tries to recreate familiarity and comfort by emulating her old one in India through ritual. She finds routine comfort in the chopping of vegetables and the scent of mustard oil, bringing her back to her fond memories of crowds and family back home. As she tells Elliot, everything is there, all the things I need to make a proper meal. But those familiar habits aren't just routine, they become something that blocks her in. Mrs. Sen uses them to protect herself in a foreign world where she feels alienated. She refuses to learn how to drive and rarely leaves home, even though doing so would greatly improve her quality of life and the routines that she imbues so much comfort into. This loneliness, exacerbated when Mr. Sen is working, ultimately fuels her discontent with her life. Lahiri here is explicitly showing how holding too much rigidity to tradition without any flexibility for the possibility to adapt ultimately will trap and confine people to their own downfall.
Cheese ball.
Now, in This Blessed House, Lahiri changes the perspective on this journey to focus on the conflicting ideas and compromises regarding culture through the couple Twinkle and Sanjeev. Twinkle and Sanjeev's relationship reflects a larger social truth, that immigrant couples often struggle and agree on how much of their heritage to hold on to and how much of America to let in. Twinkle embraces every Christian trinket she finds in their house with enthusiasm, from a framed piece of Christ to plaster Virgin Mary. To her, these things are fun, even sacred and beautiful, but to Sanjeev, they're embarrassing and unnecessary, and they give people the wrong impression of who they are. As seen in the story, he had such a clear vision of his home with Twinkle when he had purchased the home, but Twinkle's action essentially breaks and discards this image that he had. Their home becomes a setting for a deeper conflict. Their approaches to all these Christian things juxtapose each other. Lahiri is showing how assimilation isn't just an external process. It seeps into relationships such as marriage and families. Those relationships have to coexist with differing values and perspectives, and this tension mirrors the reality of many modern immigrant minority relationships, where partners constantly negotiate identity, outward appearance, and authenticity to their roots, a push and pull between the comfort of one's roots and the desire to be accepted and embrace American culture.
You know, Mrs. Sen's found comfort in her kitchen. For her, chopping vegetables was a way of holding on to her traditions in Kolkata, and the fish was a taste of home. That's what inspired our Masala Mac. The kitchen is where people and culture come together to create something new. We began with something familiar and American, macaroni and cheese. Then we added some traditional Bengali spices, garam masala, cumin, turmeric, and fresh green chili. These distinct Bengali flavors didn't detract from the comforting American taste, but instead created something that combined two different flavors that we know and love into one fusion dish.
The Hanuman Temple in Frisco, Texas stands as a remarkable testament to the large and thriving Indian community in the Dallas suburbs. Building such a grand temple in a city in Texas no less is a feat within itself, showing how culture can take root even in very different environments. Like Miss Sen's devotion to her daily rituals, the temple represents a conscious effort to preserve cultural identity, but on a communal scale. It's not just about creating familiarity for an individual, it's about creating a shared space where people can come together, celebrate festivals, pray, and pass on traditions. In building the temple, the community physically exemplifies that finding belonging in a new country doesn't require abandoning heritage. It can be fostered and shared, turning cultural preservation into community.
Who am I here with?
Ritvik Panati.
So I understand that you're of someone who grew up in an Indian culture, but now go to weekly Chinese Bible study meetings. What got you into it?
In Plano, there's a really big Chinese Christian population, and I was fortunate enough to have one of these individuals on my robotics team, And a lot of the conversations we had, like, you know, we talked about a lot of things, but obviously religion was one of those things we talked about, you know, and I was just really interested, you know, and I wouldn't say it was coming from the perspective of, you know, I was trying to be Christian, but just to learn more about it. And so as a joke, I just pulled up to one, and it was pretty interesting, honestly, you know, and I think going week to week, it's just a way you can learn about other people's viewpoints. I think at the end of the day, that's what, you know, the world's all about. You know, I wouldn't say I'm Christian. I also wouldn't say, like, I grew up in a Hindu household. I wouldn't say I'm Hindu either. I think it's about, you know, taking all the different viewpoints you can and learning about everything and then forming your own view or forming your own, like, perception of that. And I think that's what it's all about. And I think if more people took the opportunity to, you know, try new things and learn about new things, it would be, you know, a better place.
Lahari's short stories and these two powerful local examples show us that home isn't a fixed location. It's a complicated flavor. We all inevitably have to make difficult compromises to belong, whether we cling rigidly to the past like Mrs. Sin, perform a false identity like Twinkle, or consciously build a new one, brick by brick, spice by spice. The challenge is to embrace the anxiety of the blend and find the courage to be authentically ourselves. Thank you.